But anyway, it was female. I guess I can tell you that.
Okay.
Because, you know, I mean, that was also part of probably the attraction of them hiring me. Not that, like, they're like, oh, you're a woman, so we'll hire you. But they really are conscious of the idea that, you know, you have to bring in female talent to have a female audience. You
Right.
know what I mean? I mean, not definitively, but it helps.
Well, I think they're finding that with, like, I think they've discovered that in Japan with manga, was they realized, wow, all these girls are reading pretty much a lot of, not always, but women artists are, you know, pretty successful there.
Yeah.
So I think they're maybe taking that on somewhat here. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but.
Yeah, I think they're just, you know, they're trying to extend it. Did you have something?
I also just think, I mean, Vertigo is basically run by Karen Berger. And
Yeah,
so
that's
fun.
true.
So I think
They-
they're just always sort of like, you know, keep their eyes peeled.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Bob is very close to Matt Wagner, and he asked Matt to consider working with me, and I guess Matt didn't want to at first, and then all of a sudden he came around, I guess, and I mean, luckily, as soon as Matt Wagner wants to do something, Karen's like, okay, you know.
Really?
It passed very easily once he.
Yeah, he is Matt Wagner, right?
So,
Will we be seeing Grendel and Madame Xanadu? I'm sure.
yeah, Madame Xanadu totally gets him in a headlock. I didn't mean to spoil it,
But that's what you can look forward to. Is that the cover of number 8? So since we were talking about, well, actually we were talking about your style a little bit. Let's quickly, Amy, talk about bringing your style from manga into Vertigo, because I don't think they'd ever really done that before, had they? I mean, I'm trying to think of, maybe someone else out there knows, but.
I mean, I know that Becky Cloonan has some.
Yeah, Becky Cloonan, that's true. Yeah, definitely. But you actually did, like.
She did too. She actually
Did
was
she?
She did a Tokyo Pop series.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was my primary influence. I mean, I didn't even start reading American comics honestly until I started being looked at by Marvel and DC, and then I was like, I better figure out what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
So did you even know who Matt Wagner was? Were you like?
Yeah, I had no idea who he was.
Wow! How many people out there know who Matt Wagner is? Oh my gosh, that's crazy, right? So imagine you to call and they're like, we want to pair you up with Matt Wagner.
You know, my editor was like, he's like,
who is he?
Yeah.
He's pretty much a well-known legendary cartoonist from the 80s. He created a series called Mage that was basically an adaptation of Arthurian legend. Thank you. I kind of lost my words there. And then he did something called Grendel, which was a big hit, which I won't even get into with it. But
Yeah.
So basically, he rips off old books is what he does.
He's a writer-artist who has a very original style that's not like your typical superhero genre, and yet he's been completely successful doing that as well. I think he had like a Grendel Batman face-off.
He did.
Which is like unheard of because it's an original character.
And he pulled it into the DC universe.
Yeah.
And like she said, he did have a very new, kind of like Brian, I think a lot of people feel like him, he was a writer-artist just like Brian, had a very new, fresh, interesting take that was kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit. You know? So to get to work with him, and he's been 28 years in the business, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, when my editor told me who I was going to work with, like, he was just like, no, you have no idea, but you are really, really lucky. Like,
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
He's trying to explain, like, just how many artists, like, you know, the Kuberts, you know, that would just kill to work with Matt Wagner and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
So that gave me a little bit of a, you know,
A little
idea.
pressure.
But I mean, it's kind of grown on me as I tell people, you know, that I draw from Matt Wagner, and they're always like, ooh. And now I say it with like a lot of pride, like I own it. I draw from Matt Wagner.
Well, you did call him a thing. You were the one who called him a thing.
That's how you know we're close.
Yeah, you're tight. You and Matt Wagner are tight. So, talking about like working together, then let's talk about that because Brian, you had a really cool thing in his panel yesterday. I love the panel yesterday, by the way, where you were talking about how you were a writer and artist. So you bring a different sensibility than just a writer in that relationship because you can kind of empathize with them or crack the whip on them because you know you can get more out of them or whatever it is. So let's talk about like Matt Wagner also.
Sorry to all my artists that are listening to
So basically, let's talk about your guys' relationship with your specific writers on Northlanders, and then Amy, we'll get to you in a minute and talk about working with Matt Wagner, who's basically a lot like Brian. So, Brian, we'll go with you.
Okay, who do I work with now? Okay.
Well, you had Daniel on the first run, right? Davide. Sorry,
Yes.
Davide. Yeah, I studied really hard for this. Davide, yeah.
Both Davide and Riccardo and DMZ are Italian guys who I just found them going through stacks of portfolio books in DC offices.
You just went up to DC and was just like, give me everything.
Yeah, because I mean they send editors out there into the world once in a while, and they go to like European shows or South American shows and bring back samples, which is why there's so many of these guys working in America now. So I remember I was just like looking through books, and in Ricardo's case, we kind of liked it. I mean, the stuff is like obviously Euro comics, but he did a lot of stuff that I think he might have picked up from manga, like real basic stuff, but like some of the action felt cool in a way. Mm-hmm. So we had him do a couple of sample pages without any script. He just kind of knew like what the book was generally about.
This is Davide?
This is Riccardo.
Okay,
and we actually printed those pages in the back of volume 3. If anybody has volume 3, you can see. And they're really, really great. I mean, that guy never once in his life has ever scrimped on a background. And it really shows. His sample pages were just like super dense and was perfect for the book. So I began to like email with him, and his I guess because of the internet, all these guys can write and read English, but they can't always speak it. Mm-hmm. So I emailed with Riccardo for a year, and then he came to New York, and I realized we couldn't talk. This is just as much my fault as it's his, but it was like a little bit strange.
Oh yeah. Couldn't talk to him.
Yeah. He's since actually learned English quite well.
So how did you the scripts though? What did you put him through a translator?
He actually there's guys in Italy that are professional comic book translators, because there are so many Italians working in America now that there are guys that do it. For example, the writer Ivan Brandon.
Yeah.
He originally was Eduardo Risso's script translator before he decided to make comics himself.
Oh, okay.
So, interesting.
You can also see him on The Apprentice. Wasn't it him? He was on The Apprentice.
Yes.
They had the comics guys. They come and do the comics.
I didn't watch that, but
you heard about it, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, and so Ricardo and I work together virtually every day, even if we don't speak every day. We're all working on this book for, I guess, like almost four years now. Which is kind of a great thing. I've never worked with somebody that long, and I don't know. It's like having a brother almost. It's kind of cool. I went out to Italy to visit him.
Man,
his house. I saw
that's
the,
fantastic.
like villa.
I bet you're picking all your artists for all future books in like different countries, right? You're like, okay, where do I want to go?
Well, okay,
Thailand.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, actually, well, after Ricardo, I was like, oh, I bet if I work with another Italian, I'll somehow get like a free trip out to Italy, and it actually worked. Last year. Yeah, and so Davide was the same thing. Look through samples.
For Northlanders, did you want, like, because you mentioned European, I love the look of it, so did you have that specific in mind? Like, I kind of want a European feel a little bit and edgy and kind of cool.
I was pretty open. We looked at a lot of artists. I won't say who, because I don't want to be mean to Davide or anything. But we looked at several from kind of like all over the world. And some did samples. But this is like a strange book, and I'm not even sure that we knew what art style we wanted until we saw it.
And then you clicked.
We saw Davide's, and the stuff was like when it's not colored, it's almost looks cartoonish.
Really?
But he used to work, I think, for Disney in Italy. But the drawing was just like, it was like perfect drawing. Like the anatomy was perfect, like perspective, all that stuff is just draw anything.
Yeah.
And so that's a guy I eventually met, in the person after some time.